Hello and welcome to another edition of Chill with Kaiju Kim. I'm Kaiju Kim. Hope you're all doing well on this lovely afternoon, evening, whatever time it is for you. Before we get rolling tonight, I do have a couple of announcements. So, May is going to be a very, very busy month for me. As some of you might know, my wedding is just around the corner, 3 weeks from today to be exact. So I'll be making final preparations for that, on top of a bunch of work related stuff, and then prepping to record for the Power Trip podcast. And so as a result, I'm not going to be streaming as often as I normally do. You're only going to be getting 2 streams this month, the first of which being the one you're watching right now. And then I'll be doing another stream 2 weeks from today. There won't be a stream next week, as you can see in the ticker banner below. Then after that, I'm going to disappear for a couple of weeks. But before I disappear, I know I promised you guys a review on Gorgo and also a review on this bad boy right here. I do plan on getting the review on this out next Tuesday, not this coming Tuesday, but the Tuesday after. Hopefully the Gorgo review will be the week following this, but I'm not making any promises. Like I said, May is going to be a very busy month for me, so I apologize in advance if I do not get any of those reviews out. Alrighty then, let's get on with the show, shall we? So the topic for tonight's discussion is making your dreams happen. And my guest for tonight knows all about what it takes to make your dream a reality. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the wonderful, the awesome, the talented Yoko Higuchi.
Hello, everyone, and hi, Kim. Thank you for bringing me on this show. Thank you.
Oh, thanks for coming on. And I think so far you are the only guest that I've actually met in person.
That's right. That's right. You're actually one of the few people in the Godzilla community that I had the honor of meeting in the flesh. So, yeah, I'm glad that you brought me back for a virtual meet this time around.
Yes, and I'm sure we'll have a fantastic discussion.
Oh, yeah.
Alrighty, let's see who we have in the chat tonight. We got Leo Yokatan. What's going on? Thanks for stopping by. James Shelton. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Miguel Barroso. How's it going, good sir? And we got Valerie. Hello.
Hey, Valerie.
Thanks for stopping by. All right then. Hi, Yoko.
Hello.
How's it going, buddy?
Good. Just a lot of film work, so I am constantly tired. But you know what? It's for, it's for film, so I can't complain.
Yeah. Constantly tired is my middle name.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's my title. That should be the title for my autobiography. Just constantly tired, a Yoko Higuchi story.
Forward by Kim Hogue.
Forward by Kim, yeah. I am also tired.
The end.
The end. It's the whole book.
Oh, good Lord. So, before we get into our main topic, I'd like to ask my guests the same 3 questions to get the conversation rolling. So, how did you get into Godzilla? Mm-hmm. What's your favorite Godzilla film? And what is your favorite non-Godzilla kaiju film?
Okay, so I got into Godzilla because when I was, I think, like 2 years old, I was in Japan visiting my grandparents, and I saw this toy. It's actually up here. This toy of Grand King Ghidorah from Mothra 3, because Mothra 3 was, I think, coming out at around that time. So the marketing for that was big in Japan. And I apparently, I have no recollection of this story, but my dad has told me the story where I just was in awe of the image of King Ghidorah, just like with the 3 heads and the 2 wings. Like, it's something I have never seen before, so I think it just kind of shocked me. And my grandmother turns to my dad and she goes, we're gonna have to buy him this toy or else he's not gonna move. So they bought it for me, and I guess my dad thought, well, King Ghidorah is in like a movie. We should show him, where this character is like featured, for Yoko. And that led to the first Godzilla movie I've ever seen was Ghidorah, the three-headed monster. And at the end of the movie, obviously Godzilla kicks King Ghidorah in the butt, and my allegiances sort of shifted over from King Ghidorah to Godzilla, who is obviously stronger. I guess in the film, so I was like, oh, I'm a Godzilla fan now, and then my dad must have seen my reaction to watching the movie, and I must have been so like enthralled by it, and he was like, well, there are a lot of other movies we should, if he likes these, we can show him the rest. And from there on, he showed me, Mothra versus Godzilla and Godzilla versus Gigan, Destroy All Monsters, like all of the Showa era stuff. So ever since that point, that's where my love for Godzilla sort of blossomed, and here we are today, where I am a crazy person about this kind of stuff.
Aren't we all?
Aren't
Hello.
we
Hi.
all? Yeah. Yeah, my stuff is like in front of me. Like I wish I can turn the computer around and show you like what's like they're all looking at me as I'm doing the stream.
Oh, they're there for moral support.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, yeah, you go, Yoko. I'm like, thanks, man. Like I hate this editing process, but thank you. I'm sticking with it. My favorite Godzilla movie, um for a while, it was Godzilla versus Destroya. After for a while, obviously the best movie is the original film, but there was something about Godzilla versus Destroya that really got to me, and also it came out on the year I was born, so I sort of feel very kind of like close to that one because that was the biggest one that was like released at that time before Godzilla 2000, before the 98 movie. So that was like the last thing that everyone was talking about in terms of Godzilla. So what I saw the most when I was like three three and four was like the burning Godzilla toys and the Destroyer toys the most. So that one I held to my heart the most. But I'm clearly biased, but Shin Godzilla I think is my favorite one. It's made by one of my favorite filmmakers of all time, and it just has like a certain tone that I just love about it, and it just feels like Evangelion with Godzilla, which is like it's merging my two favorite things together into one. So I can't help but love that movie. And to segue into the last question, my favorite non-Godzilla kaiju movie is Gamera 3, and obviously Shinji Higuchi was uh, the special effects director on that. So I love Higuchi's work, and especially in Gamera 3, I think that's one of the most beautiful tokusatsu films I've ever seen, and it still to this day has some of the best imagery in any tokusatsu monster movie. And yeah, so I love Gamera 3.
Everyone loves Gamera 3, or and if you don't love Gamera 3, you're incorrect. No,
You're a heathen if you don't like Gamera 3.
How dare you?
How dare you?
Get out. Get out of my house. As for me and my house, we will enjoy Gamera 3.
Yes. If I said I didn't like Gamer 3, like I feel like you'd have to like take me out of the stream. Like goodbye, Yoko. Like you're out.
Like, oh, look at the time. Oh, we got to end.
Yeah,
the
this is
stream
solo
now.
Kim show now. No guest star.
Very good. All right, so let's jump right into our main topic, which is making dreams happen. That sounds so cheesy, but that's that's what I came up with.
No, it's a good title. Honestly, it's good.
Oh, thank you. So your dream is to be a successful filmmaker, I imagine, since you made like a bunch of films. So, and it already seems like you're well on your way to that goal. As a matter of fact, I recently saw on your Facebook that your short film Alien in Tokyo was accepted into the Shorts Film Festival in Japan. Congratulations.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I was holding that news for about a month because they contacted me back in March and they said like you're accepted, and I wasn't allowed to share any details until I posted it online. So thank you. I greatly appreciate that.
Yeah, I went to go watch it, but it's missing from your YouTube channel. Like, no, where'd it go?
Yeah, I had to take it down because like you can't put stuff publicly if it's at a festival. So I like took it like it's still on my YouTube like account. It's just privated. So I'll send you a link in the DM later.
Yay. Great, awesome. So, can you give us a brief summary of the film? And for the aspiring filmmakers out there, can you explain the process of getting your film into a film festival?
Yeah, of course. So Alien in Tokyo is about an alien in Tokyo. This alien character is disguised as a human being. He walks around amongst us, looking like us, and he sort of throughout the course of the film is uh, talking telepathically to his father, who only appears through title card text. And they have a discussion about what humanity is and where he stands on humanity versus nature. And it's a very sort of introspective film about philosophy and what it is to be human. Um, and it was a film that I wrote, sort of collecting my thoughts um, during the pandemic. I think all of us had time to sort of reflect upon ourselves, the world at large, and what it means to, live a normal life and to, live as a human being on this planet and sort of see where we are in this world. And that's the genesis of where Alien Tokyo came from. And so uh, this was actually a very impromptu film. I didn't imagine it getting the success that it did. But basically, I went to Japan last year to visit my family and also to see the final Evangelion movie in theaters. So I was already in Japan. And I texted my friend Chester, who's from New York City, and he now lives in Japan. I texted him before I went, and and I asked him, "Hey, I'm going to be there for X amount of days. Let's make something." And he said, "Sure, yeah, let's do it." And on the plane ride over to Japan, I wrote Alien Tokyo on my phone, like in the notes app. I just wrote the whole narration down, and I wrote the text between him and his father, the alien's father. And during that time, it was late spring 2021, and obviously COVID was a lot more of a problem than it is now. And I was wearing a mask and like this construction sort of like helmet thing that kind of like comes down like this. And I guess as I was looking at myself in the mirror, I thought like, oh, that looks like a space helmet. So that's sort of the genesis of where the original idea came from. Is like I was wearing this thing and I kind of felt like an alien space guy sitting in an airplane for 13 hours. So that's when I started writing the whole thing. And then when I arrived in Tokyo, me and Chester spent about a day just walking around together, filming various things on the street and filming me as the alien because we didn't have any actors and whatnot. It was just me and him. So I just brought the space helmet thing that I had. I just walked around looking at people pensively, and I cobbled it together and it was done in about like a week after or so. And then I released on YouTube about 2 months after. Unfortunately, I had to take it down because it's in a festival now. But how I submitted it is there is a website called Film Freeway, which for anyone who has the experience of applying to college, it's sort of like Common Apps, but for film festivals. You input all of your information, all the data that you need, and then you upload your film, you title it, you give it a poster, you do whatever you need to do with that film, and then you just start hitting the film festivals that are on that list and you click submit. And I submitted this one to Short Shorts about a year ago, I think around the fall, not really expecting much from it. And then a month ago I got an email saying, hey, you're accepted. And that came as quite a shock.
That's really awesome. Congratulations again
Thank
for
you.
getting in the film festival. That's huge. Got to get your name out there somehow.
Yeah. That's big. Yeah, that's the most important thing, is getting your name out there to people who have, like, I don't know, power, I guess.
Yes, I have the power.
Share it with me, please.
Please give me the power.
Please.
I want the power. Yeah, I've been trying my hand at filmmaking earlier this year. We discussed it, when I met you in person. And getting my film into a film festival is definitely something that I would like to accomplish at some point if I ever get that film done.
Yeah.
Delays,
I know how
Scheduling
that feels. Don't worry.
conflicts. Mm.
Yeah. Mhm.
Ugh. Oh man. But another one of my dreams is to be on the set of a Godzilla film, which is yet another thing that you beat me to. You were a production assistant on Shin Godzilla. Tell us about that experience. How did you get that gig?
Yes, I like telling this story because I sort of remind myself how ridiculous it sounds. So back in 2015, I was 20 years old, and I guess to add some context, I didn't go to college so I can pursue filmmaking on my own because I thought paying all that money for tuition to go to an art school seemed unrealistic to me in my budget range. So I thought, why not spend that money on a camera, on mics, a tripod, anything I need to make a film at my level. And I was 20 years old, and I was thinking, I've done a lot of things. I've done a lot of, short films, and we tackled or we tried to tackle some feature films at that age, but it was sort of not really working because uploading things to YouTube just kind of, it lives and dies on YouTube and it doesn't sort of lead anywhere. And I was looking for a change of pace, and on April 1st, 2015, that's when they announced that Ano and Shinji Higuchi were the directors of the then untitled new Godzilla 2016 project. And the moment I read that news, I thought, oh, I have to be there. I need to be there because it's Ano, it's Higuchi, it's two guys I've admired for so long, especially Ano, who I owe a lot to because his filmography is what made me want to become a filmmaker. So I thought to myself, I have to get there. So I cannot read or write Japanese, unfortunately. I can read some like katakana because I can read like a Godzilla poster, but besides that, like I can't read or write. So I asked my mom to translate a letter that I wrote in English into Japanese, and we sent both letters, my original English one and her Japanese translated one, to Toho Studios via email and via letter, I believe. And I think that was in May of 2015, I believe. Um, and 2 months ish go by, and the moment I sent the letter, I told myself, it's not going to happen. But you know what? I should just try, just see what happens. But studios don't usually respond to people who send letters, to the studio. So I thought, this is a shot in the dark, but I'll regret not taking it if something happens, for example. And 2 months go by, nothing happened, and I almost sort of forgot about it. And I think in either late June or early July, I got an email from an address I didn't know, and it was all in Japanese, and the subject header said Godzilla in Japanese in katakana, and I was like, oh my god, is this it? And I opened the email and I showed my mom because I can't read it, and she just sort of sat there, and I was asking, what, like, what does it say? And she said, they want to do a Skype interview with you. And I was like, oh boy,
Ooh.
my Japanese is like casual at best. I can't do formal Japanese because it's almost an entirely different language, how it's put together and everything. So I sort of learned some stuff, and I sat down for a Skype meeting, and it was the three guys who I ended up being very close with. They're really awesome dudes. And after the Skype meeting, or sorry, before the Skype meeting ended, they said that I will respond to you in about a week or so if you got the job or not. But basically, they wanted to know if I could, use public transportation by myself. Do I need a translator? I was like, no, I can speak it and I can learn it. If there's something I don't know, I can learn it. And obviously, this is not a paid gig. It's PAs in Japan are all volunteer based, and they're usually film school students. So I knew that, like, going in, and I was like, I'm gonna provide my own airfare. I have a place to live because my family lives there. I explained all this to them, and they said, okay, so we'll respond to you in about a week or so, if you got it or not. And I was like, great, thank you so much. And I hung up, and about an hour and a half later, I get an email that said, like, hey, you got it. And in that same email, they sent me like the coordinates for Toho, a map of Toho Studios and everything. And I sort of, I was in a state of shock. Like I couldn't like laugh or cry or like be happy in that moment. Like it was just a state of like, this is real, right? Like this isn't a dream. This is real. Um, and yeah, and then soon after, about a month later, I was packing and I went to Japan, and on August 1st, that was my first day of August 1st, 2015. That was the first day of me working there, and 4 months went by.
That is amazing, and I am forever jealous of you. Just like our friend the Omni viewer. What's up, buddy?
I'm not.
I'm envious. I'm not envious. Stop telling me I'm envious.
You know what? I think this is a lesson you should always try, because I didn't know this would happen. Like I genuinely did not think this would happen. So always go for it.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
like what Leo's
honestly.
saying here, it's always important to try. It's never
Yeah,
impossible, just highly improbable, but there's always a chance, no matter how small, it's worth it.
always believe.
Indeed.
Yeah.
By the way, hi Doomzilla. Thanks for stopping by.
Hey.
All right. That is oh man, that's gonna make me jealous forever. Okay, thank you. I want to be on the set of a Godzilla movie. Can you put in a good word for me?
Oh, of course, absolutely, 100%, of course.
Awesome. I appreciate it. So, when did you know that you wanted to be a filmmaker? Who or what inspired you?
So for a while, I've always loved film. My mom and dad, since I was at a very young age, they started showing me classic movies. Because they had this like giant suitcase of VHS tapes. Of just various movies, ranging from different genres. Like there was Seven Samurai, there was Die Hard, there was 2001, there was Full Metal Jacket. Like it just ranges from any genre, any director. Um, and we basically just sat down and watched a movie like maybe every other day from that suitcase, because he wanted to show me all these movies that he loved, and my mom wanted to show me movies that she loved. And I've always loved movies, but I don't think it ever occurred to me it was something that I wanted to do until later in life. And in middle school, me and my friends, who I'm now very close with, and they're also my film crew now, we started filming these really dumb skits just to have fun. That was our way of hanging out, and it didn't really amount to anything. It was just us making these dumb videos on YouTube and uploading them and saying like, "Oh, this is what we did. Haha, this is really stupid and kind of funny." And that was it. But then we started getting better at it. We started experimenting with some more things, and that's when it sort of slowly became like um like above interest, but below career path, if that makes sense. Like it's not just an interest for us at that point. And then when I was 14, I was exposed to Ava. And when I watched the end of Evangelion movie, that's when I knew I wanted to be a filmmaker. And hence I credit Ano for that, and why I was so desperate to be on Shin Godzilla was mostly because of him. And I owe a lot to his influences, and if you watch my filmography, his style and just small Easter eggs are all over my filmography because I'm obsessed with his work. But yeah, that's generally where it started. It started from us making skits, and then Ano's work just really hitting me over the head like a sledgehammer, and sort of waking me up to the art of storytelling and filmmaking, and making something that is artistically unique and just kind of, very visceral and raw.
Mm. So now you're on the career path to become a successful filmmaker because of Ano's wonderful work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one tries.
Hey, try. You're doing good. You're doing fantastic. Honestly,
Thank you.
I would say.
I appreciate that. I told him actually. I saw Ano again in 2017, and I had the honor of thanking him for putting me on the film career path, and his first words were, "I'm sorry." Uh,
What?
Basically, he explained like, it's a really tough industry to get into, and like you really have to, fight your way through. And I'm like, I totally get it. Like, thank you. And he's also not the kind of person who appreciates compliments. He's a very like, he's very much like Shinji from Evangelion, like very introverted, very kind of like, you know, uh, antisocial. So like I that was the most Ano response he could ever say, and I love that his first words were "I'm sorry." That was amazing for me.
That's actually pretty hilarious. So, can you tell us about a time where you maybe had some doubts about your career path? I mean, it sounds like you've been at this for a while. Maybe you've had
hmm
some doubts at some point.
hmm I mean, literally like every year, literally every year. But I think it's sort of I guess it's doubt that comes from stress as opposed to what I truly want. It's that like demon voice in your head that kind of goes, "You don't want to do this," and then your other voice going, "No, you do because X, Y, and Z." And even this year, I was stressing out over the post production for my two feature films, and I always ask myself like, Yoko, why are you doing this? Like, why are you putting yourself through all this like hurt and stress? And but the answer is because I love it, and I rather stress and be angry and be anxious about a film than doing anything else, literally anything else. I This is what I love to do, and I think throughout all of the doubt that I had over my career or early career, I think the fact that I haven't stopped is probably a good sign. I might also just be a masochist because I just love, I guess, like seeing myself hurt over a bunch of movies. But it's what it is. I think every filmmaker and every artist kind of at some point goes, "Ugh, this is terrible. Why do I even do this?" But then a second later, they go, "No, I love it. I can't stop doing it." So I'll say to anyone who is doubting themselves, don't worry. I doubt myself all the time, but I think you have to listen to the inner voice that also tries to sort of explain to yourself that no, you love this. Don't doubt yourself. You love doing this. Just keep going. It's going to be hurtful and painful and stressful, but you have to sort of push through everything and just break down those walls of doubt and anxiety, I guess.
Yes, exactly. And from Doomzilla, he says the worst possible enemy that prevents your path is simply yourself. Indeed, I know that.
100%.
I know that all too well. Mm-mm.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you have
Yeah,
to push the most,
y-
really.
yeah. You got to really push through those
Mhm.
self doubts. Yeah, for me,
Yeah.
I definitely had those self doubts in my early 20s.
Mhm.
Um, I thought I wanted to be a screenwriter for the longest time because people
Mhm.
kept telling me that I'm a good writer and I was into film. So I was like, yeah, I'll just write film scripts. But several unfinished scripts and an unsuccessful and expensive trade school experience later, I discovered that I was on the wrong path.
Mhm, mhm.
And I felt like I wasted my time and money and I got depressed. And at the time, I was working at a crappy retail job and I
Mhm.
thought that I was going to be there for the rest of eternity. But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it was not a good time. But fortunately, I did eventually find my way and
Mhm.
I'm doing something that I actually love, which is freelance videography and editing. So yay for me.
That's the
Um,
important part, that you
yes.
found it. Like that's the lesson that I think makes it worth your while. Like even though it was so hard for you, like the fact that you found it, like that's I think it's super important.
It is very important. I'm not quite at the level I want to be yet, but I'm getting there. I'll get
Mhm.
there. It's a slow process,
Yeah, it's
but
a learning curve.
yeah, it's definitely a
Yeah,
learning
I'm
curve.
learning all the time. Like I keep thinking like, oh, I gotta do better. I gotta do better. I gotta do better. So it's good to kind of like question your skills a bit because it makes you a better filmmaker and a better artist is going
Mhm.
forward.
Yeah, exactly. And no career path is like easy and like
No, no.
it's gonna be there's gonna be trouble no matter what you do,
hmm
and you're gonna face some challenges and some obstacles.
Yeah.
So my that leads me into my next question. What
hmm
are some of the obstacles that you have faced while trying to achieve your goals?
Honestly, the main things that really that any filmmaker or rather any artist has to struggle with is time and money. These two things, especially in film, because film is a very expensive art form. Of course, you can do things with no budget, with which I've been doing for mostly my entire early career is doing like no budget or like little to no budget uh, short films. But time and money is honestly the biggest hurdle for us because we have these greater ambitions to do bigger things, and yet we don't have the money and time to do those things. And also, because we don't have the time and money to do things, we sort of have to cut corners, and we end up with more problems. For example, because we don't have money, we can't shut a place down. So we end up having background people walking in the background, or we have people standing around and loitering in a, an alleyway where we want to shoot, and we can't tell them to leave because we don't have a permit, because we don't have the money to spend on a permit for every short film that we do because we do so many. So I would say those two are the root problems, time and money, and they sort of umbrella into bigger problems that sort of spread out throughout the either onset or post production. I think it's mainly those two, time and money.
Yeah, finances or lack thereof are
Hmm.
definitely one of my biggest obstacles right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you gotta spend money to make money.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's annoying. And another obstacle that's a huge obstacle for me personally is that I'm kind of lazy. Like like sometimes like just the thought of being productive just makes me sleepy. I'm just
Right,
like,
right, right,
well,
right, right. Yeah, yeah,
just like, oh, this is my to-do list, and I'm just like, oh, look at the time. It's time for a nap.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think like your brain sort of like overheats a little bit. Almost like a computer. You kind of have to rest it every now and again, or else it'll just kind of just be jittery the whole way through.
Yeah, like my brain just kind of shuts down if it gets a little overwhelmed, but I think it's a pretty common problem.
Hmm.
It's a problem that I've had since I was a kid, actually, and just like and this is gonna sound really silly and stupid, but hear me out.
Okay.
Uh, I think on some level, I'm kind of like afraid of not being lazy. Like, I mean,
Hmm.
it's like part of my personality, and it's like kind of like my identity. I've always been like lazy. Like my mom always, my mom always got on my case because I was lazy, and it's a miracle I got through high school on time. Let me tell you that. But I
Oh
digress.
God, yeah. No, no, no. I'm super lazy on things that I don't have interest in. So like
Mm,
schoolwork, no. Like
yeah.
just things in general that like didn't involve around things I liked. Just it just kind of went in one ear out the other. So I have that same thing.
Yeah, and like sometimes it feels like if I'm too productive, I'll stop being me because I've always been like that way. Does that make
Mm-hmm.
sense? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to spend the rest of my life sitting on a couch not getting anything accomplished, but at the same time, like, I also don't want to lose myself as I'm trying to achieve my
Right.
goals.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah,
I,
that's
I
something
totally
that
get
I'm
that.
struggling. That's something that I'm struggling with right now. I'm improving, but still struggling. uh, good lord. A question from Doomzilla: have you experienced any burnout?
Oh
Absolutely.
boy. Yeah, 100%. These two feature films I finished really uh knocked the wind out of me. I'll tell you that right now. The first this first feature film that we were doing uh really knocked me off my feet. I was because we were shooting every weekend, and I work 5 days a week, and we had to shoot up in the woods in Long Island, which is like a 2 hour drive. So we had to wake up at like 4 or 5 in the morning every weekend, and then go to set, and then come back, and then do it again on Sunday, go, come back, and then on Monday I have to go to work. And then in between that, I had to edit the stuff that we shot so that I can kind of see it and make sure that I don't need to reshoot anything. So that really took a lot out of me. I was like really losing my mind. I was like a vegetable person, and I was like losing hair from stress. And I was like gaining weight like very quickly. So that was pretty bad. And the next feature film that we did. It also took a lot out of me. I think for about 2 weeks, my arms and legs were still in pain constantly, so it was hard to walk for 2 weeks. So yeah, there's definitely burnout, but I think I'm like a psychopath. So like I kind of go like, okay, I'm burned out, but I also want to spend like 8 hours on this new script. So I am like a crazy person. So every time I burn myself out, I just keep like igniting that flame again and again and again and again. So I definitely have burnout, but I try to have a quick turnaround from the burnout as much as I can. But it does take a toll on you a lot, like mentally, emotionally, physically. It is a toll to be out on set and to manage people and to direct and to shoot it the way you want it to be shot, make sure that everything is going well, and keeping things on a schedule. All of that is incredibly difficult. So yeah, I definitely any filmmaker would or any artist would feel burnout after just trudging through a whole lot. Yeah, but you just got again, you just have to kind of just push forward and try to beat it if possible.
Easier said than done, my friend.
Yeah, yeah, honestly. Takes a lot of willpower.
Yeah, that's a lot of willpower. By the way, when do you sleep? Because we work 5 days a week and then you work on your films when you get home. Like what? What are you doing?
I those few months, I just like I slept like only a little bit, and I think that's what sort of like was so terrible about it. But it's for film. I'll sacrifice whatever to get it done. So whatever. I,
Wow.
I can be in pain, but the film cannot be in pain. So it's fine. I can suffer.
Filmmaking knows no pain.
Knows no pain, but Yoko knows pain and
Yoko
experiences
knows
pain.
pain. Poor Yoko. Hashtag pray for Yoko.
Pray for Yoko.
I'll be praying for you.
I'll be praying for you as well.
Thank you. I need it, especially
Yeah.
this month. Good Lord, I have so much happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we all have experienced burnout at some point, and
Mhm.
maybe sometimes we start to lose sight of why we're doing what we're doing. They maybe they're getting caught up in like the numbers, like how many
Mhm.
likes they're getting on Instagram or
Right, right.
TikTok or whatever friggin' platform they use, or how much money they're making. And yeah,
Mm.
people lose sight of why they started doing what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, is that something that you have struggled with? And if so, how did you overcome it?
Um, like I said before, obviously I had doubts about, whether or not this is what I wanted to do, but honestly, um, outside of that lingering sort of like tiny voice that almost sounds like the Doppler effect, where it just kind of just boom. Besides that little tiny voice that kind of goes in out ear out the other ear, I never had that sense of doubt because whenever I questioned myself, the answer that popped up in my head was always yes, and it was always immediate. Like it was never a moment where I had to think about it. It was always like, no, it is Yoko. This is what you want to do. So yeah, for me, I always knew this was uh the path for me ever since I started it. And even throughout the hardest parts of my life going through it, I think I've always known like, no, this is the right path for me. So I personally haven't struggled with it, but like everyone, I think we all have those moments where we ask ourselves, is this really what you want to do? And I think that answer is going to be very important, and you should listen to whatever your mind and your body tells you if that's what you really want to do or not.
Yeah, and if you ever lose sight of why that's what you want to do, I think a good solution to that would be to just take a step back every once in a
Hmm.
while and
Hmm.
remind yourself why you want to finish that film or get that degree or get that job or finish that project, whatever it is.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yes, it's important to remember why you're doing it, and it's also
Yeah.
important to take a break at some point. Yoko, take a break.
A break?
A break. What's that?
Yeah, I haven't heard of that word before, break. What does that mean?
Yeah, you see, a break is when you stop working for a little bit and
Hmm.
then you just relax. Say it with me, relax.
So what is this word relax? that is also a word that I probably haven't had in my dictionary for a while.
All right, so to relax is to not be doing something productive.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. Yes. Well, I will certainly give it a try. For
Highly
you and
recommended.
yeah, for you and Omni Viewer and Leo, I will try my best.
Yes, yes. Breaks are definitely recommended, and
Yeah.
I think it has to do with kick bars. I think says on the viewer.
Yeah, that might be it. Yeah. You gotta break the Kit Kat bar. Yeah, yeah, that's
Oh,
it.
there we go. Let's all get some Kit Kat bars after this. I haven't had one in a while.
Yeah, same too.
All right, so we already kind of like gave some advice to people, but do you have any more advice for people watching who need to make their dreams happen?
Hmm. Yeah. This sounds super basic because everyone says it,
Mm,
and I know I don't want to just like repeat the words that like every other director says, but it is honestly so true. Is that you just kind of have to do it. You just have to go out there and shoot something, whatever it may be, and that is the only way that you'll ever get experience and learn. Um, because no matter how many film history books you read or production books you read, it's not going to help unless you go out there and shoot something. Because I read all about the technicalities of film and whatnot, but it's not the same as being there and you know going up against the elements a little bit, because all that textbook knowledge is going to fly out the window because everything will go wrong basically, and you have to sort of mentally and physically and emotionally prepare yourself to fix so many problems that you might not have even thought about. And so I think the only advice really that I can say universally to anyone who wants to be a filmmaker is just go out and do it. Write a script, get a camera. It doesn't have to be in the right format for the script. It could just be a rough thing on a Google Doc. Get any camera. You can do it on your phone. You can do it on a DSLR, or you can get a Red. Any camera that you have, and just shoot anything. And no matter the outcome of that thing, it's going to teach you so much about who you are as an artist, and the film um and the film craft as an art form. It's going to teach you so much, and reading about it in books is not going to do any justice to the art. You just have to go out there and do it. And again, it sounds super kind of basic and just kind of ordinary, I guess, to say that, but film is really about being in the environment, collaborating with people, and managing a set the best you can. And the only way to learn those things, honestly, is to actually go out and do it. And I've learned so much about filmmaking through the mistakes that I've made. I've made plenty of mistakes in my early career, and that is honestly the only way that I learned. And all the failed projects that I've done, or the projects that I think need more work, have shaped me into a better artist. So I think you really do have to just go out, shoot anything. It doesn't matter what the budget is. It doesn't matter what the genre is or the subject. It could even be one actor. It doesn't matter what it is. Just go out, get a camera, film something, and edit it together, and actually finish it. I think finishing it will give you this huge release. That like I finished it, it's done. I accomplished the gargantuan task of finishing a film, because finishing any film is a miracle, because it's so hard to do it, and it takes a whole village to do it. So again, just go out, get a camera, start filming, edit and finish it, and review it, and then learn.
hmm Yeah, and I think the idea of just going out there and doing something can apply to any line of work, really. And, just don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Yeah,
And
that's
another
important.
piece of advice that I would give is go at your own pace. Like
Hmm.
don't worry about keeping up with anyone else. And life is a marathon, not a race.
Hmm.
And also, it's very important that you make sure you keep your mental health in check.
Yeah, yeah.
And if that means taking a step back from your dreams for a little while, then do that. That's what I did. I didn't start college till I was your age, Yoko. So, yeah, my motto is nothing is worth sacrificing your mental health, because if your mental health sucks, then you're not going to do your best. Like, you're not going to be able to go
Mm-hmm.
out there and just do it. So you need to,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, and take a step back, remind yourself why you're doing what you're doing, and
Mm-hmm.
then go for it when you're
Yeah.
mentally ready.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. I think that just about wraps up our discussion. It was awesome. We're about 45 minutes out. Before we wrap up, would you like to plug your stuff and tell people where they can find you and your work?
Yes. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter at the Yoko Higuchi. You can also find my work at youtube.com/ the Resistance Films. All of my short films for Resistance are there. There's a bunch of content on there, ranging from different genres of film. There's action, drama, science fiction, comedy. It's all there. And I have two feature films that are in the works in the moment. They're both in post production, so hopefully those will be done by this year. I think they will be. And you can also find the social media for my film crew production company at Resistance Pics. That's PICTS on Twitter and Instagram. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Yoko, for coming on to the show. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this talk. Thanks.
Awesome. And to you watching at home, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to hang out with me and my fantastic guest. An extra special thank you to Brian Truong, Rogue Firefly bonus commentary, Dana Demana, and Nathan Marchand for supporting me on Patreon. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Like the stream if you had a good time here tonight. And be sure to be back here not next Sunday, but the Sunday after that, May 15th, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, for another edition of Chill with Kaiju Kim. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Have a good night, guys.